We all love discovering new hidden gems for our favorite retro consoles. Let's take the Super Nintendo for example. Content creators for over a decade have been releasing hidden gem videos, with some larger gaming channels still releasing content on the subject to this day. Has any stone been left unturned? Are there any gems out there still to be discovered that haven't been discussed a million times over? How could a new channel, like my own, create a new and exciting video on the subject in 2023, maybe with a modern, interesting twist? Then it hit me, what if I asked ChatGPT to help me choose some gems? I immediately asked the AI to name me some hidden gems on the SNES that nobody talks about. The first list was decent, but it contained some games like Demon's Crest, which I've personally noticed has gotten a lot of love lately, especially on YouTube. I then asked to name me some more picks that didn't include Demon's Crest. The results improved, but after a quick scour of YouTube, it was still providing me games that were usually included on other hidden gem list videos. I was about to give up, but then I decided to give the AI one more chance. What if I wasn't being specific enough in my request? I then changed the question to, what are some hidden gems on the Snes that haven't received as much attention on YouTube? I was then presented with 5 games and was pleasantly surprised with the results. So let's get to them. Quick disclaimer, I know that each game on this list was probably covered somewhere already, and they're very likely to be on a gem list that I missed. After all, there are a finite number of games and thousands of lists and videos, and every game has a let's play in some form or another. You have to consider SNES Drunk too. That guy has covered everything. These are 5 hidden SNES gems as chosen by ChatGPT. Metal Warriors is a side-scrolling action game developed by LucasArts and published by Konami in 1995. It's a game that has developed quite a bit of a cult following over the years, so I was excited to dive in and see what all the fuss is about. The gameplay of Metal Warriors is really what sets it apart from other games of its time. You play as a mech pilot, and you have a variety of different mechs to choose from, each with their own unique abilities and weapons. The controls are tight and responsive, which is important in a game like this where precision is key. There are a variety of different missions to undertake, ranging from straightforward combat to rescue missions and even some that require a bit of platforming. The game can be quite challenging at times, but it never feels unfair. Overall, the gameplay is a real highlight of Metal Warriors. Graphically, Metal Warriors is a bit of a mixed bag. The backgrounds and environments are nicely detailed and have a good amount of variety, but the character sprites are a bit on the small side and lack a bit of detail. That being said, the game runs smoothly and there are never any slowdowns, which is impressive given the amount of action happening on the screen at any given time. The sound design is solid. The music gets catchy and fits the game's sci-fi theme nicely. The sound effects are also well done, with satisfying explosion and gunfire. So, is Metal Warriors worth playing today? Absolutely. While it may not be the most well-known game on the SNES, it's a game that has aged remarkably well. The tight controls and varied missions make it a joy to play, and the ability to customize your mech with different weapons and abilities adds a layer of depth to the gameplay. While the graphics and sound may not be the best on the system, they get the job done and don't detract from the overall experience. If you're a fan of action games, mechs, or just want to try something a little bit different, Metal Warriors is definitely worth checking out. The next pick is The Peacekeepers, which is a side-scrolling beat-em-up developed by Jaleco and published in 1994. It's a game that's often overlooked in favor of other beat-em-up classics like Final Fight or Streets of Rage, but it has some unique features that make it worth checking out. The gameplay of The Peacekeepers is very similar to other beat-em-ups of its time. You control one of 3 characters, each with their own unique moves and abilities, and fight your way through a series of levels filled with waves of enemies. The controls are responsive and the action is fast-paced, but there are a few features that set The Peacekeepers apart. First, there's a blocking mechanic that allows you to take less damage if you time your blocks correctly. Second, there are special moves that you can perform by inputting special button combinations, which can be very useful in taking down tougher enemies. Finally, the game has a branching path system that allows you to choose which level you want to play, adding some replayability to the game. The graphics in The Peacekeepers are pretty impressive for a game released in '94. The character sprites are detailed and well animated, and the levels have a good amount of variety. The only downside is that the game doesn't run as smoothly as other beat-em-ups, especially on the SNES, with notable slowdown during particularly hectic moments. The sound design in Peacekeepers is solid, but not particularly memorable. The music is upbeat and energetic, but it doesn't quite match up to the iconic soundtracks of other beat-em-ups on the system. The sound effects are also serviceable, with punch and kicks sounding suitably impactful. So, is the Peacekeepers worth playing today? If you're a fan of beat-em-ups, absolutely. While it may not be the most well-known game in the genre, it has some unique features that make it stand out. The branching path system and special moves add some depth to the gameplay, and the graphics are impressive. The only downside is the occasional slowdown, but it doesn't detract from the overall experience. If you're looking for a fun and challenging beat-em-up to play, the Peacekeepers is definitely worth checking out. Next up is SOS, which is a side-scrolling survival horror game developed by Human Entertainment and published in 1994. It has some unique features that make it worth checking out. The story of SOS is simple but effective. You play as a character who's been stranded on a sinking ship and must find a way to escape before it's too late. The ship is infested with all sorts of monsters and traps, and you must explore its many rooms and corridors to find a way out. The story is told through some basic cutscenes and diary entries that you can find throughout the game. The gameplay of SOS is divided into two main parts, exploration and survival. You must explore the ship and solve puzzles to progress, all while avoiding or fighting off the various monsters that are trying to kill you. The controls can be a bit clunky at times, and the combat isn't particularly satisfying, but the game makes up for it with its tense atmosphere and sense of urgency. SOS is a game that's not afraid to scare you. The ship is filled with all sorts of grotesque monsters, and the game makes use of some effective jump scares to keep you on edge. The game also features a unique panic meter system where your character's level of panic will increase as they encounter more and more frightening things. When the panic meter reaches its maximum, your character will start to lose health and control, making it even harder to survive. The graphics in SOS are impressive for a game released in '94. The character and monster models are detailed and well designed, and the ship itself has a great sense of atmosphere. The only downside is that the game suffers from some significant slowdown during certain moments, which can be distracting. The sound design in SOS is excellent. The music is haunting and atmospheric, and the sound effects are suitably creepy. Next up is another game from '94, Live Alive, which is a unique and innovative RPG developed by Square in Japan only. A remake was made for the Switch and was released last year. The gameplay of Live Alive is a mix of traditional RPG mechanics and unique gameplay elements. Each scenario has its own set of characters and mechanics, from stealth-based gameplay to mecha battles. The combat is turn-based, and the game features a unique combo system that rewards players for chaining together attacks. There's also a tension system that allows characters to power up their attacks, adding an extra layer of strategy to the battles. The graphics in Live Alive are top-notch, featuring detailed and colorful sprites and backgrounds. The character designs are unique and memorable, and the game features a variety of environments, from ancient China to a futuristic space station. The game also features some impressive visual effects, such as Mode 7 rotations and scaling. One of the biggest strengths of Live Alive is its replay value. Each scenario is unique and offers its own set of challenges and gameplay mechanics. Additionally, there's a final scenario that ties all the others together and provides a satisfying conclusion to the overall story. The game also features a New Game Plus mode that allows you to carry over certain items and abilities from previous playthroughs, adding an extra layer of depth to the game. Finally, we have Kirby's Dreamland 3, which was developed by HAL Laboratory and published by Nintendo in 1997. I find it ironic that ChatGPT chose this game considering how popular a character Kirby is. The gameplay of Kirby's Dreamland 3 is similar to the other games in the series, with Kirby's signature ability to inhale enemies and copy their powers. The game introduces new animal friends that Kirby can team up with, each with their own unique abilities that add new gameplay mechanics. The levels are fun to explore and feature a wide range of enemies and obstacles. The bosses also are creative and challenging, requiring different strategies to defeat. The graphics in Kirby's Dreamland 3 are adorable and colorful, featuring cute and charming visuals that perfectly match the game's overall tone. The characters are also well designed and have unique animations that add to the game's charm. The game also features some impressive visual effects, such as scrolling backgrounds and parallax scrolling. The sound design in Kirby's Dreamland 3 is excellent, featuring a catchy and memorable soundtrack. The music fits perfectly with the game's charming visuals and adds to the overall atmosphere. The sound effects are also well done and add to the overall experience of the game. One of the best features of Kirby's Dreamland 3 is its replay value. The game features a hidden heart star system that adds an extra layer of depth to the game. Each level has a hidden heart star that can be obtained by fulfilling certain conditions, such as finding hidden secrets or defeating all enemies in a level. Collecting all the heart stars unlocks a special ending and adds a new level to the game, making it worth playing through multiple times. It's a fun and charming platformer that still holds up well today, thanks to its lovable characters, engaging gameplay, and fantastic presentation. While it may not be as well known as other SNES classics, given that it was released very late in the decade of the 90s, it's a hidden gem that's well worth checking out. If you're a fan of platformers or Kirby games, Kirby's Dreamland 3 should definitely be on your radar. That's all I have for today. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to make more of these videos and see what else I can get ChatGPT to do for me. Thanks.